Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mortgage Coaches Training Thursday. My name is Lytle, and I'll be hosting today's call. I'm not sure if you were on our coaching call on Tuesday, but our coaching call, we had Jeremy Forcier as our guest speaker, and they discussed scripting and how you'd be able to use the scripting with your clients and edge reports and things like that. And first, before we go into the report, let me show you where you can find that recorded call. So I'm just logging into mortgagecoach.com. I'm going into Community, going into Coaching Call Archives. And the reason why I'm going here to show you this is today we're just going to talk about the report. We're going to talk about understanding the total cost analysis, and then I'm going to show you how to use it with your clients, so how to hold that conversation. So this Training Thursday also will link with our Tuesday call. So on our Tuesday call, it's right here, Jeremy Forcier, the best scripts in the biz. So if you want to be able to listen to that later, if you weren't on that Tuesday call, we have it right there for you. So next what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the total cost analysis. For those who are new on the call, how we use GoToMeeting is there's two areas. We have a chat area, which we have dropped in various links for you to use. We have the links to our website that I just went to, mortgagecoach.com, as well as our login to Edge, the downloads for RateWatch, and you'll also have the links for our mobile device as well. So it is all in the chat, and now what I want you to do is open up your question area. So as we're going through reviewing the report and talking about it, I would like you to ask any questions you may have. So open up the question area and GoToMeeting and have it ready to ask any questions along the way. So what you're looking at right here is a total cost analysis, and what we're going to do is comparing a fixed MI with the lender paid MI, or lender paid, so there's no monthly mortgage insurance. With that, when we go in and start talking about how to present the report to the borrower, what we're going to do is not only have these two, I'm going to show them different options. They ask for just a fixed rate loan. I'm showing them two options here, one with mortgage insurance, one with lender paid mortgage insurance. But I'm going to throw on an ARM and an 80-10-10. And I have all those reports or products created, so this is going to allow you to be able to hold that conversation and be able to bring up different loan options for them and be able to show them. So that is what we'll be doing after we review the report, and we'll be using Edge Live for that experience. So looking at the report, one is how you want to understand the report, how to use the report. And if you're using Edge, a lot of some people want to print a report, and if you'll notice in the lower right-hand corner, we do have that print option. And this is great to be able to have a hard copy, but the client, the borrower could print this on their own. It's their own button. You always want to send this link, and I can't stress enough about the link. So once you send the link over, what I've seen out there is before Edge, you provided an email with a rate and payment or an Excel spreadsheet. So all this Edge report has all that data, but it's in a graphical and numerical format. So let's take a look. The way I like to reviewing a report is go to the summary section first, provides all the details of each of your loan options, and then on the right hand side we discuss the monthly payment savings, and then we discuss the short-term savings and the long-term savings. So let's go through each of these quadrants here and discuss and understand what this report is providing the client. So in our summary section, in the upper left-hand corner, this will provide the basic data, the summary of those loan options. So you'll see on the face of the report, you'll see that we're showing the loan amount, the interest rate. We also have the APR, term, and payment. This payment also includes taxes and insurance, and I'll be able to show you how you can show that. We also provide the cash to close, or if it's a refinance and they're cashing out, it will say cash out. So you'll have that number here on the face of the report, plus their savings. So you have all the details listed on the face of the report. I also want to point out our payment stream buttons. So with the payment stream buttons, you could go in and you can see I have mortgage insurance and it's going to be for 86 months. And then we have the remainder of the loan without mortgage insurance, the remainder of those payments. And then you can look at the lender paid MI in the payment stream, and you'll see that there's no mortgage insurance here. So it's really good to always review those payment streams. Once you've created the report, it's a great way to be able to see if you have your MI correct on FHA loans, making sure it's going for the life of the loan. So always just do a quick review of your payment stream button. Next, let's go ahead and look into the More Info button. So with the More Info button, it's providing you details behind these loan options. So if we go ahead and click on More Info, you'll see that we have 3 tabs at the top. And with those tabs, you have your payment breakdown. So this is where you can show that sales price. So we're working with a $350,000 loan. And we provide the P&I payment. So you have the P&I payment also listed here. Then, if they're going to escrow, you'll be able to show them how much those monthly amounts are, as well as that mortgage insurance. And what's nice is you also have the mortgage insurance here, and you'll be able to show them how the second product has no MI. So this is where you'll be able to confirm your total pity payment and just be able to review those figures prior to sending this report out. Next, let's take a look at the closing costs. And what I want to do is clear out some of these highlights for you. So I'm closing out of my More Info. I'm pressing Clear All down at the bottom, and that clears out all my highlights. And for those of you who don't know how to highlight, all I'm doing is placing my mouse over a field, and I left click and it highlights. Left click again and it unhighlights the field. Or you have that Clear All button at the base here. So you'll be able to clear them all at once. So let's go back into that More Info button. We discussed our payment breakdown, so all the information here. In our Closing Costs tab, this is where you'll be able to show them the down payment there, or on a refinance, how much equity. So right here you can see that we're applying the same down payment to each product, and each product has an LTV of 90%. So you have that information right there handy. Then it looks just like our fee screens. You have the total of the APR, non-APR costs if you're doing points, upfront MI. Prepaids, those are your escrows, costs, your taxes and hazard insurance, and if you were showing contributions. So you would have this all lumped together, lump sum totals, but you can also hold that conversation because we have all the fee details. So if you're using the closing cost screen, you'd be able to provide your fee breakdown in here and list it. You can also show it, it's the APR fee. Prepaid escrows, how we were talking earlier, there's your reserves, taxes and hazard, as well as a one-year premium. So you have all that information listed here. So if you're sending out a cost fee sheet, this is the area that you could discuss those fees. So this is a replacement of that fee sheet. We do have ways to develop fee templates within Edge, and if you're on an enterprise account, you also have that option, as well as having your company build out those fee templates. So if you're on an enterprise account and don't see fee templates, email us at support. We could assist you with that. We also have great video tutorials on how to set up those fee templates as well. And then our third tab in here is our reinvestment strategy tab. So not only can you reapply, add savings to principal, toward principal, or you can also show them how to apply it to savings as well as an investment account. But what's nice in this screen is you can find your MI cutoff month. So right here, we're at a 90% LTV. It reaches that 78% loan to value when the MI is cut off from the loan, and that arrives at 7.25 years into the loan. So this area will be able to show you, besides that payment stream button, show you how long that MI will be on that loan. So if you're not using the screen, it's just a good way of pointing out this area here. When we're working on the different products, what we can do toward later of the call, if we have time, we'll go ahead and apply even payment. So we'll work with this reduction payment field as well as our freedom point field to show them how they can pay off the loan quicker, as well as seeing how that MI adjusts accordingly. So with that, that is our full details of the summary section and clicking on that more info. And all that detail in the more info is also on that printed copy. So if they wanted to print it off to be able to do a side-by-side comparison, they're able to do that. So they could do it on the screen as well as having a physical hard copy. So they have both pieces to be able to work with. So now let's go discuss the monthly savings quadrant. So in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see we have two graphs. You'll notice that the fixed MI has no graph, and that's because it's the highest payment. So anytime we have the highest payment, there will be no graph on that product. So now we'll see that the monthly savings over that fixed rate is $33. So we have that information here, but you want more information to provide the borrower, and that's where we have that more info button. In here we provide the loan amount, the rate, the APR term if they have MI, so they can see exactly what the basis of their payment is. So then we show the total petty payment and their monthly payment. We also in the screen have the property appreciation rate displaying, as well as if you use a tax bracket, it will display as well. So that's the information that contains in the monthly payment savings. And now you'll notice with the monthly payment, short-term and long-term, on the right-hand side of that box is information that displays. This area here is information that you can modify in Edge. This is those last three screens that you click through before you get to the report. This is the area where you can modify the text or add a little bit additional text. And I'll show you when we go into Edge where you can find that, but just wanted to explain that a little bit. That's on the report. Now let's discuss the lower left-hand quadrant. So this is your short-term savings. And what the short-term savings is showing are the unrecoverable costs of the loan. So this is the savings over how much you're paying in interest, mortgage insurance, fees. These are unrecoverable expenses. These are the costs of your loan. So this helps explain to the borrower which one they'll save more from. So to find that out, you'll see just like on the monthly payment savings area, there's no graph under the lender paid MI. And that's because that's the highest cost loan. So to show you the difference and why it's the high cost loan, let's click on the More Info button. Again, those always provide your details to you. So what we have is your interest and MI. So that over a 60-month period, that interest in MI for the fixed rate with MI accrued $79,000, a little over $79,000. So with the higher rate on the lender paid MI with no mortgage insurance, that is the interest rate that's been accrued over that period of time. So you can see they're almost close in comparison here. Then you also add your closing costs to those figures. So once you have done that, that gives your total unrecoverable costs of the loan. So that's how much we're not saving that much here at that point, but it's still a savings over that lender paid MI. When we go in to talk about the report, how we're going to talk on the report with our clients, I'll show you how you can adjust the 60-month period to that conversation as well as that 15-year period in the long term. And so now in the long-term area, this is the lower right-hand side of the report, we have the two graphs comparing the total interest and MI over the period of 15 years. So again, if we click on that More Info, it will provide our details behind it. So I'll have the total interest in MI that is calculated here. But I always like to point out, this is where your property appreciation rate is. So if you put in a appreciation rate, in this case I did put 3%, it will show a 3% appreciation over that 15-year period, so each year. So if it held at the end of that 15-year period, their house would be worth from $350,000, and now it might be worth about $545,000. So you can see how the appreciated value, you can show them if you left that appreciation value at 0, you'll see the home value still reflecting $350. It's also great to be able to point out the loan balance. So the loan balance at the end of 15 years, this is how much they still owe on those products. Also, this is great when you can, if they ask what the loan balance is on that particular amount, you can, or a particular time period, you can always change that 15 years. So we'll be able to show you how to do that and how to be able to explain that to the borrower on the report. Then you have your total principal and total pity payments over that period of time that you'll be able to provide them that detail so they'll be able to see it. So you have a lot of meat in this report. A lot of information just like this is not on that rate and payment in an email, and it's also, you know, Excel, I've seen them built out, so a lot of times they might be on there. But what I want to point out, this is easy to read. It has all your data there. So first of all, understanding the report is the key for you, and then next is how to be able to hold that conversation with the client with your report. So next what I want to do is let's go back into Edge. A couple other items I want to show you before we go back in there. You always have a quote date. Always put a quote date on your reports. Reasoning, it gives you a solid date, so if you send it out, you'd be able to mention, you know, this is the rates that are quoted today. You know, so you'd be able to have that information. Also, if just to be able to talk to you, since we're talking about the report before we dive into how to use it, we do have disclaimer language. I also want to point out over on the right-hand side the More button, which okay, thank you. Tell me where I stopped. I leaned on my mute button. Oops. So I moved that away. So if I missed something and you couldn't hear me, just let me know and I'll go back to that section. So what I had done is click on Settings and then Contact Information. 3 screens back. We ended here. How's that? Is that about where we ended, Lisa? So basically what I talked about here is our quote, our rate quote here. I'll just continue on from here. So we have our rate quote, but what I was focusing on is our disclaimer language down at the base here. We have disclaimer language. If you're on an enterprise account, it might already have information here. And we have an additional, that More button, where you can add additional disclaimer language. Or if your company wants to provide licensing information, this is where it can be placed as well. So that's where I'm logging into Edge to be able to show you how to place this information in before we start talking about that report. So let's go over to Edge, and we discussed our home screen. Our client-facing reports are in the upper section. That's the total cost analysis and rent versus own. The lower half here are your partner-facing reports, the co-branded reports with you and your partner, or usually the realtor. This is the open house flyer as well as a seller buy down. So what I want to do is click on Settings. So if you're in your Edge account, go ahead and click on Settings and walk with me through these different tabs. So you have your contact information. This is very important to make sure that you review this. This is on the face of your report. So if we go back to the report, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, contact information. It will display, you'll see how it says MLS and your number. This is exactly how it has to display in your contact screen. So let's go back to Edge. You'll see that field is right there at the base. Make sure you have an identifier in front of that number because this is exactly how it's going to display. If you have fields that are grayed out, That is because usually the name's blocked out because we have to have that blocked out on our purpose. You just email us at support and we can help you update that. Items such as your MLS number, things like that that are grayed out, this is because you're on an enterprise account and your company has blocked out those fields. You would just need to contact your administrator on the account or contact us on support. We'll be able to assist you. Make sure your image and your logos are uploaded. Again, that's on the report in the upper right-hand corner. Now let's go over to our report template tab. So this is where that disclaimer language lies. So with it, you have each product, and each product has its own disclaimer language. So you'll see at the very base, you'll have the information that I'm showing that's on my report. So all that information is placed in this area here. You'll notice I have a reduction in my font size because I have a lot of information. What you can do is take a lot of this text and put it in your extended disclaimer. So let me click on that button. And this is that more info button that you clicked on the report. This is where that information will lie. And if you have licensing information, this is where you could place it as well. So when we get to reviewing the report and we'll be able to look at the mobile device, we'll come back and show you how this will display on the mobile device as well. So I'm going to press OK. We also have the sidebar text here. And this is what I was talking about in that More Info button. So let me go ahead and click back to the report. The More Info button. This is the language that you can also modify permanently on your reports by going into the report template. So you have it in each of those three quadrants, a little additional language here, and again with the fourth one. So if I go back to Edge, you'll see that we have that information right here. So if these areas are grayed out, again, your company, you're on an enterprise account, and they're controlling those fields for you. If you wanted to show short-term differently on that total cost analysis, we always put in 5 years. If you want to always permanently show maybe 7 years, this is where you can have that permanently changed. So I just want to be able to show you this field. Anytime you change or add disclaimer language, you want to make sure you do it for every report because every report is different and you're able to put custom language on each of those reports. So now what we want to do is dive into how we can use this online or with our borrower. So what I'm going to do is bring up my mobile device, and I am apologizing now because I've heard when I use two screens the fact that when we record the video, which we record this call, we'll post it in our coaching call archives, it does make it a small screen. But for today, it's very impactful that you do see both screens today. I want to show you how to be able to leverage this with your clients. So let's go ahead and let me just, one moment. Okay, let's try that again. Leverage Mac Mini. Okay, so what I want to do real quick is let's bring up my iPad here. Whoa, it's quite big, isn't it? Just a moment. So with that, just one moment, bear with me, everyone. I have lost my, just one moment. Okay, just bear with me, I'm almost there. There we go. Okay, so with that, while I'm getting some assistance getting my reflector back up, so I could show you my report. Just one moment. Okay, everyone, we're back. So sorry about that one. That was a unique experience. So I have our reflector up, and what I'm doing is I want to first show you how to download the report, and then we're going to go ahead and place that report on the one we're viewing on our app. So the first thing you want to do is go to your app store, and what you want to do is search for Mortgage Coach. So you can place Mortgage Coach in there and do a search. And then just see, Mortgage Coach. Do that search, and you'll see that it will come up with both of our apps. We have our Rate Watch app, and I see I have an update, as well as our Mortgage Coach app. So you would want to download both of these. It's really simple to do. And if you have your mobile device, please go ahead and do that now. And what I would like you to do is when we're going through reviewing the report, I want you to follow along with me and key in that ID number and watch the flow. So if you have that mobile device, definitely have it downloaded now. So what I'm going to do is open up my Mortgage Coach. And now you see that I'm displaying our viewer for our app. So we do have a link that's already in here. And what I'm actually going to do is now let me place this on two screens here. And I'm going to go ahead and start showing you how you can prep for your clients. So if I click on my Edge report and let me go in and move it to two screens, now you should be seeing both screens. You're seeing my iPad on the left-hand side and the report on the right-hand side. So what I'm bringing up my report. I don't say if I didn't have my email on my iPad or for some reason, I just want to pull up my report and my link. So what I'm going to do is I'm erasing everything on my tab here. And if you'll see on the right-hand side, it's really easy to find your link. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to paste it in the chat box so you'll be able to get it, or in the question area. So you'll be able to follow along on your desktop as well if you choose to. But I'll show you how to place it in there, and I'm just not having a great day here. I can't type anything in my GoToMeeting. Okay, I'm going to place it in the chat box. So let me open it back up. Let me get into chat. Here's the link. There you go. So the link is within your chat box. So how can you place it? You're thinking, I don't want to type in mcedge.tv. You don't have to. You just have to key in this number. So let's key in 16, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, 0, H. And if you notice that it's always 0, because you'll notice we'll have lowercase letters here, and that would be a big O. So it's definitely a 0, just to be able to point that out. And then if I hit return, it will go ahead and download the report for me. So you see how quick it was. You don't have to enter that full link. if you're just typing it in. You just have to type in that number. If you have your emails, all you have to do is click on the link. That's what the borrower would do, and it would automatically open the report. So let's go ahead and close this out. And one other item I want to put on that other screen is the report itself. So I copied and pasted the report, and that is not the report I want. Let's go ahead and go into share. Copy that link. That share button is really handy when you just want to get that link. It's really quick if you have the report up just to click share to be able to grab that. So let's go ahead and paste it into our web page. I'm going to make this smaller here, and let's bring over this page over here. So what we're going to be doing on the left-hand side, I'll be showing you how the report is driven. So I won't be working so much on that side, just on the right-hand side. So the first thing you'll see is you have your reports listed. You have, they've clicked on their link. They have that I understand. On the mobile device, that is this information right at the base, as well as that more info button. So if you look at it, you could see you could scroll up. They could read all that information. It's the combined information at the base as well as the more info button. So once you press I understand, it lets them go into the report. So I'm going to do I understand on each. So with that, let's go ahead and place that back up here. Okay, so now we have both reports open, and now we can see how we could drive the reports for the client. Okay, so now that you have the reports, and sometimes you're wondering, when do I reach out to them? I've sent them the link. When do I reach out to them? And as soon as they close out of the report, you know, so if I closed out of this report here, it's going to generate, by clicking on this leave page, that just generated an email alert to me. So that's how you'll be able to see an email alert. If you go into your settings, if you've downloaded RateWatch, let me just go into that real quick. If I go into RateWatch, there it is. You do have a settings for alert views, and let's see if I can pinch and zoom. I can't pinch and zoom this to make it bigger. It will provide you the date and time, as well as you're going to receive an email alert. So an email alert will provide you the information about the report, the link to the report, contact information, and once you receive this email alert, if you have your desktop RateWatch downloaded, you'll get the alert through your right there. Perfect timing. So it's just been viewed. So if I clicked on this, it will show my report. So you can see how the report will display. So that's how I brought the report back up, because it has this disclaimer language initially popped up. I know this is my client's copy. So again, you can receive it through the email, as well as seeing it through RateWatch. So that's why it's important to have that desktop version and have it open, because it's going to be able to provide you information on those email alerts. If I click the button right up here, that brings me to my menu, and you can see I'm in Edge Views. You notice it's been crazy on the rates. Since we're in RateWatch, let's just take a look at that. Yeah, let's look at today's, how the rates have been moving. Pretty crazy. So if you have your alerts set up, you would receive alerts every time it changes the basis point. And then you can also do it by the hourly basis. So to do that, again, click on that button there and go into your settings. And your settings will allow you to set up the alerts as well as update your schedule. So you could just put in your information in here, and then the times you want to receive those alerts, and you'll start receiving them. So let's go back to Edge to do a little detour on RateWatch. So I'm clicking on my Edge icon. And let's bring up this report, and let's bring it on the far screen over here. So let's slide this over. I'm going to go ahead, I understand, so I could get into my report, and let's bring Reflector back, get it a little bit smaller. And now let's start diving into our report. So you've received that email alert, you've known the client has viewed your report, and for how long. So really, this is the time you should reach out to them. See, I closed the report again. 5 minutes, 36 seconds. So this is the time, don't call instantly because that might be a little freakish. But what you want to do is within the next 15 minutes or so, reach out. They've been able to review the report. They have questions in their mind. They're wondering what's the difference. Okay, he gave me these options. I'm not quite sure what they are. And they've dived into this. They could see the details. But now it's time for you to help educate. So how can you educate the client with your EDGE report? And what you've noticed, the screen on the left-hand side, the mobile app, as well as the desktop version, it's moving with me every time I make a change on my preview. And what I'm doing is, when I'm in EDGE, let's go into our file, I clicked on preview, or if I'm in generate link, there's also a button called EDGE Live, and they're both one and the same things. And the difference is, if you look at the bottom, it's the Clear All button. If you look on the left-hand side, there is no Clear All button on the client's copy. So the borrower will not have a Clear All button. The Clear All button will clear out any type of highlights. That's what it does and helps you do it rather quickly. So now you reached out, called your client, and now you have them on the phone. And you want to offer them, answer any kind of questions. So the first thing you want to do is, talk to them and say, you asked for a quote on a fixed rate product. So I provided you two types of loan options. I'm showing you a fixed rate with monthly mortgage insurance, and I decided to show you also lender paid MI. And what this product is, see, I'm clearing out all my highlights. With lender paid in mortgage insurance, for a higher interest rate, you will no longer have to pay that monthly MI. So let's see if that's advantageous for you. So we'll go ahead and review the products and then be able to determine which loan option. So I have your loan amount at $315. You can see how it is on both products here. And then I'm charging, we have the interest rate on the fixed, 4.5 and 5.25 on the lender paid MI. You can also discuss their monthly payment at this time, as well as the estimated cash to close. So you could go through all this data. You know how to talk to the clients about the loan specifics. So with that, you might want to show them the payment stream button. So let's click on the payment stream button, and this will be able to show the borrower how they pay MI. So you have monthly mortgage insurance, and it's on the loan up until 78% of your loan-to-value ratio. You have it for 86 months, and then after it's reached that 78%, it drops from the loan, and you'll see the remainder of the loan. It has a lower payment and no longer has mortgage insurance. So that's how that process works here. And you'll notice the mobile device opened up the payment stream, as well as on that desktop version. If you have typed in that link and you're using on your mobile device or the desktop, you'll see that those items are also popping out for you. So I was just checking my questions, see if there are any questions. So now I'm going to go ahead and close out my payment stream, and let me get my iPad back. I gotta mark it to always make sure it's on top. So let's bring that back over here. So now I'm going to go ahead and clear out all my highlights. So now let's go ahead and dive deeper into the more information behind these loans. So then you'd want to go into your More Info button and then discuss that monthly payment. So here is where you have that breakdown of your payment. I have the sales price is $350,000. Your P&I payment, this is without any taxes or any insurance. So your straight P&I payment is $1,596 or $1,739. Then you'll be able to show them what your monthly costs are. And you can also show them how the mortgage insurance is part of that fixed rate product, as well as the lender paid MI doesn't have any. So you'll be able to show that to them side by side. So then you'll be able to discuss the pity payment and the total overall payment here. Now what we want to do is go ahead and go into our closing costs. So in our closing costs, this is where you want to be able to discuss the fees and be transparent with them. So you'll be able to provide them the down payment. So you're having a down payment of $35,000, which brings you to an LTV of 90%. So then you have your lump sum fees, but it's always best just to go into those fee details. So with the fee details, you'd be able to discuss the fees. You could talk about the reserves. So with that, you could tell them how you're collecting 2 months hazard reserves, as well as taxes and the 1-year premium of hazard insurance. You can also then discuss your fees if you want to discuss APR fees. It depends how much conversation you hold around this area. But again, by being able to do that, you'll notice on the mobile or on the desktop, it is moving the highlights to those different fields. So if you're talking about contributions, it'll go ahead and bring you to that line. So you can see how it's moving with me. Also, I see talk to some people, and even if there's no contributions on a purchase, they like showing 0 because this stimulates that conversation. So possibly if the seller might be able to do any contributions, this is a way to hold that conversation with the client. So it's something you can or cannot do. It depends on how you feel. So also I want to point out that the prepaid interest is also estimated. We put in 15 days, has that information here, as well as the total borrower cost. So this is your total cost of all your reserves and fees. So you'll be able to show them that information rather easily. So you can see it's on both of those products, or both of the apps. So let's close out of here. And again, you'll be able to discuss that. It's so much better if you have different loan options. If you're giving a fee sheet and you're giving them a couple different loan options and having to keep sending an additional sheet, it's great having Edge because you can hold those discussions right here with them live on the phone. So next, after you discuss the information here, you have your graphs of the cash to close right here and what percentage. Next, let's talk about reinvestment strategy. So there's nothing on the screen here, but you can use the screen to stimulate the conversation. We do have it where it shows how long that MI is going to be on the loan, so you have that information here. And you can then talk about, if they plan on applying additional principal to the loan, and if so, how much, and you can hold that conversation, and again, you can show this live. So this is another piece that when you're holding that conversation with the borrower, or you could go ahead and show them, maybe they haven't thought of what an additional $100 a month. So in a bit, when we start putting on different products, maybe toward the end of the call, we'll show you how you can have this conversation and bringing that information in. So next, you would just go through the monthly payment savings. You could click on the graphs if you're talking about that particular product. You could click on that More Info button, talk about the loan amount, the different information here, so you can see how they have that. Hold that conversation. And I promise I won't click on the iPad again like that. So so you have that, and close it down so you can hold that conversation directly. I'm going to be putting on a second mortgage, so you'll be able to see how that changes slightly. Then you can hold that conversation about short term. We discussed earlier what it comprises. So now what you could do is hold that conversation with the borrower. So these are the unrecoverable costs. This is the cost that you're paying out that you're not receiving any benefit back in return. So you can see over that 60-month period, so for 5 years, you're paying $79,000 in interest in MI on that fixed MI product. And the lender paid MI, that's straight interest, and that's how much you're paying over the 5 years. So you'll be able to educate your client on how much is really going to interest, as well as the cost to the loan, the fees. So here we add those two together for the total cost and the savings over the two. So hold that conversation with them, talk to them about those unrecoverable costs, and then you can finalize that conversation with the interest and MI paid. So when you click on that More Info, and then you could go ahead and discuss that information as well. So now after you've gone through your conversation with the borrower, you know there's a couple other options. You know, they've talked to you, they know they're in a situation that they're probably going to move within the next 5 years. So you know what? I think I want to show them a 5-1 arm. So let me go into Edge, and I had already prepped a 5-1 arm, and this is what you could do as well. So I'm hovering my mouse over Presentation. I'm choosing Select Report. You'll see that I've added a 5-1 arm and an 80-10-10 product. So now I want to discuss the 5-1 arm. So all I would do is click on that box, advance my screen, and let's go to the report, and you'll see on the left-hand side, we now have our 3 loan options. Let's go ahead and then I have one on my desktop version. So with that, you can see how it's easy to open up that conversation. So now you can say, with this particular product, my 5-1 arm, my starting rate is a lot lower. I will be, you know, it's a 5-1 arm. The rate does adjust after the first 5 years. But if you're planning to move at that time, this might be an option, or maybe a 7-1 arm might be an option for you to have. So you can see how with that lower interest rate, it's huge savings for that client. If you click on the More Info button in the summary section, you would be able to show them that they still have MI, and they're still paying that on this product. So it's not, you know, that savings isn't because they got rid of mortgage insurance. It's because of that low interest rate that ARMs provide. And again, you know these products. You understand how ARM products work. But this is a great way to provide them that education about how safe those ARM loans are. You know, if they're planning to move, ARM loans are great to be able to provide. So if you go in there, you can see how much less the interest is built over that 5-1 period, having that low interest rate. MI is the same compared to that fixed rate product. So you can see how much of that greater savings it is on an ARM product. So another option I want to be able to show you is an 80-10-10. So I wanted to be able to show you, if you don't like mortgage insurance, let me show you a way to be able to remove that. So I have an 80-10-10 already created. And let's go ahead and take a view of our report. So now I've just placed 4 loan options. They asked for a fixed rate loan. I showed them a fixed rate with mortgage insurance, lender paid MI. Now while I'm having that conversation, I'm providing them a loan option of a 5-1 arm, then an 80-10-10. So with the 80-10-10, what we did is we have 10% cash to close. You'll see that our cash to close didn't really change that much. But we do have that second lien that we have for the additional 10%. So if I click on my More Info button, you can see that the mortgage insurance is zeroed out, so you can see that they're not having mortgage insurance. And now let's go ahead and move over to our monthly payment savings area. So in that, click on More Info, and you can see again the mortgage insurance on the 2 products, how they're zero. But now you'll see we have a second lien information that is listed. In this particular case, just to make it simple, it is a 20-year loan that is fixed and it's full P&I. I didn't do a HELOC. I wanted to really show them that they're paying interest on that, trying to keep these comparisons similar. So I have that in here, but I just wanted to show you, you can show them that second lien information here, as well as going into the More Info button in the summary section. You'll notice in your payment breakdown there's an additional line item for that second P&I payment. So we also have it in here. So you'll be able to show them with that, and then buying out or doing an 80-10-10, so they have no mortgage insurance. And then you'll be able to show that More Info, again, the total unrecoverable costs over that 60-year period. So now you're talking about possibly that they don't have, they might stay a little bit longer, so they're real iffy on that ARM loan. So they want to see how the adjustments work. So let's go back to Edge, and I have it set here for 60 months. 60 months is not showing my rate change. It is just showing that my rate has been fixed for 5 years because that is my ARM criteria. just to click on the payment stream button just to be able to show you how it's 60, and then I'm making my adjustments. So I do have it at worst case because I want to show them the worst potential amount, and it's adjusting 2% each year until it reaches my ceiling of 8 1/4. I mean 8 1/8. So you have that information here. So with it, let's go back to Edge. I'm going to my analysis screen. And in my analysis screen is where my fields are for the short-term and long-term months. So let's put in 84 months here. So we're going to go for a 7-year period. That way the rate has adjusted a couple times. And let's bring up my presentation. You see it's already updated on the left-hand side, the 84 months. And now let's take a look at that information. So it does, the rate has adjusted at this period, and you can see now the comparisons with the MI and insurance. You notice the 80-10-10 and that 5-1 arm are now running pretty close to each other in savings of the unrecoverable costs. And now let's just see where it just starts overriding everything. Let's go ahead and put 10 years. So I'm putting 120. And let's go ahead and just do the full term of the loan, 30. Actually, let's put 20 because that's when our second lien pays off. So let's go back to our report. And you'll see how on the short-term savings that's going to change to 120 months. So now you're showing a full 10 years, and look, that 5-1 arm just doesn't look good. So at this point, too, the MI has been dropped from the loan, and your lender-paid mortgage insurance is getting a little bit more of an advantage over that 5-1 arm. So this is how you can educate the client about ARM loans, about taking advantage of that low interest rate. You can't always rely on rates in 5 years to be this low, so you need to educate them how that loan increases, how that rate increases, and discuss that with them. You'll also show the interest in the 20-year period. Look at how much more that the ARM product is accruing in interest now because we're at the ceiling mark. So this is an area where you'll be able to work with the clients on explaining those loan options. And if you have any questions, go ahead and place them in the question area. Now what I want to do is show them level payments, just to be able to show you how you can have this conversation with them. So right now, let's go into our More Info button and talk about our reinvestment strategy. So right now you can see how the different payments on each of those products. And up at the top here, you can see the monthly savings on each of those products. So let's go ahead and make level payments by adding those amounts to the reduction payment and applying it to principal. So I'm going to go ahead and close out, and let's go back to Edge. I'm going to my analysis screen. And in the analysis screen, there's a button, Reinvestment Strategy. So let's click on that. And now you'll see the matrix. It's very similar to the one on the report, and you'll see that field with reduction payment. This is where we're going to go ahead and add our information. So I'm going to add $32.50 to our lender paid MI, $246.68 for that 5-1 arm. And you know what? I'm going to apply my savings first to my second lien. So let's put $117.37. So you'll notice that the freedom points have changed. So this is a little less than 29 years. That 5-1 arm, if you keep that level payment, if you could pay that one on the fixed MI, apply that same payment, and look, you have it'll be paid off less than 25 years. That 20-year second lien, applying that additional savings to the second lien has dropped it to a little less than 11 years. So this is how you can educate your client about applying a different additional money toward principal and what actually happens when that occurs. So let's take a look at our report. So now with our report, you have the savings over a 10-month period, so you have that. But now you'll notice the reduction payment. So this is the additional money each month, and then you have your freedom points that have modified. So again, once you've made these changes, they'll never see Edge. They'll only see what's going on the left-hand side. So you'll be able to have that conversation and really develop out, really bring that conversation back to the client and what their goals and their needs are. So with that, let's click onto the More Info button. Come on. And we'll take a look at our reinvestment strategy. So here we go. We have those items here that you can highlight and talk about that monthly savings and talk about level payments. So just this way you can show, this is showing the options apples to apples. We're paying the exact same monthly amount. The rate is going to change here. But what happens about that MI cutoff? You know, you have mortgage insurance now that will be dropping. That should be added to your reduction payment. So how do you do that? So let's go back to Edge, back to that analysis screen. Whoops. And reinvestment strategy. So once you're in here, you could go ahead and double click on that field and reinvest your mortgage insurance. So we have that number right at the base here. It's telling you the month you can apply it and how much. So the last month was 86 months of mortgage insurance, so we're placing in 87 and then 175.88. And now this is telling the system at this month start applying the, this figure, the monthly MI, each month to the principal balance. So if I press OK, now you'll notice that the freedom point has changed as well as your MI cutoff. So let's go ahead and take a look at the report. And again, now it's truly apples to apples. You have each product, it will be paying that same monthly payment, and we can make that modification to the ARM as well. So you'll notice now that it says the word custom. If we click on the More Info button, and going to that reinvestment strategy, you'll see that now the custom button's there. You could click on it and show them how you reinvested that mortgage insurance. So again, you'll be able to keep everything level. You could do the same if I go back into Edge, go back to the analysis and the reinvestment strategy screen. Let's take a look a little bit on the ARM loan. So you can adjust that savings. If you click on the box here, what it will do is it's keeping that level payment. So if it makes an adjustment to the total amount here, it increases, it will start chipping away at that monthly savings until that payment has exceeded that amount, and then there'll be no more monthly savings. So just be able to show you there's that aspect with it. So if I click on that and press OK, it will go ahead and appear on the report. But you can always double click here and also add any kind of changes, monthly changes to that as well. Let's go ahead and make it apples to apples, 52 months at 175.88. And I have to put back in my number, 246.68. 246.68, and that's occurring at month 1. That's my monthly savings. I'm adding a line. I'm reinvesting the mortgage insurance at 69, 175.88 a month. So you see how I did that. This is our monthly savings, and actually this would be my monthly MI. You would want to add these two together, you know, to get that full payment. So I'll say about 375, and then press OK, because what this will do now is then add those two together, the saving as well as the MI. Taking a look at our presentation, click on it, and then let's take a look at our reinvestment strategy. So with it, now we have another custom one. You'll be able to show that information to them, what you're doing, reinvesting the savings as well as reinvesting the MI. So with that, it's still, by reinvesting that additional payments, you can see that it's still saving at 10 months, and that lender paid MI is still the harder one. So you can see how we just had that conversation. I know it's drawn out, but I really needed to show you all the little pieces to that, what you can use it with. But you could see how it just changed, where the 5-1 ARM over 10 was definitely not the product to go with. But if they had done that reinvestment, you could see how, and doing apples to apples, really it's the lender paid MI that is the option not to go for. So with the Edge report, you could go ahead and hold that conversation with them. So is there any questions that you have now that you would want to discuss? We are going to wrap up the call. If there's something specific you want to see, stick around, put the question in the box. I'll show you how that works, and we'll just go from there. But get into Edge, work with it, work with adding and subtracting products. Like me, take a link, put it on one side, keep your preview on the other, and see how you can make the changes. You know, leave today and work with the tools that were provided. Work with providing those loan options through Edge Live, and go from there. And if you want us to review any reports, just email us at support along with any questions, and we'll get back to you promptly. We can review your report and provide any suggestions we see. With that, everyone, thank you for attending today's Training Thursday. Stick around if you have any questions. I'll assist you. And if not, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.